So we had a question from the studio audience, if there was a studio audience. I would love that term. Thank you, studio audience. You know, and I love too, after living in LA, I realized that there is no studio audience half the time. They just say thank you, and there's actually 2 people sitting there, interns that they paid, that are just going, yay, bravo, good move. So Maggie from the studio audience has a question, and the question is, how do you know, or how do you
choose the one?
Choose the one.
Or the right one.
Well, it all comes down to the blueprint that you got. See, if you know your blueprint, you will know the one, because you've been prepping for that person. See, when you write, there's a 3-step process to this, okay, in choosing the one. The first thing is to write your definition of love, because your definition of love has to match that person's definition of love. So it's not hard to really sit on a date, and instead of talking about cue story 3 from childhood, hey you over there, give me the cue cards for story about a high school field trip, and don't forget our trip to Aspen, Colorado last summer, all right? Instead of exchanging all those stupid things that we do on a date, which is what I call resume dating, which is all it really is. It's like, let me exchange a resume with you. In 2011 to 2012, I was having sex with a girl named Amy. She was cool. In 2013, I took a hiatus. I returned back to masturbating and just basically reading books about self-help and trying to figure out who I am. 2014, my sexuality came out a little bit again, but then I picked the wrong. That's what we're doing on a date. We're literally like talking about, like, it's energetically, we're trying to share stories that mean nothing. Because anybody can share stories that mean absolutely nothing. I don't really care who you were sleeping with in 2011 at all. I don't even care who you were sleeping with last night. It's not my business or my concern. Because you could have had sex last night with Tom Brady. And you know what? It wouldn't have mattered to me at all. I would just eventually find out, because he would confess it during one of the Super Bowls, and I'd think, God damn, man, I'm fucking Tom Brady's ex. That's so cool. You know, I share some space with Tom now. So it all doesn't really matter, that stuff. Because those are just stories that are going to come out. Yeah, when I'm with a woman for the first time, I want to know, and I like her, and I know that she's somebody I want to be with. I want to know what was your favorite cereal as a kid?
Sugar, what's that called? The tiger one.
Frosted Flakes?
Yes.
All right, very cute. We can reach in and get the prize together. See, I want to know that. What's your favorite food to eat late at night when you're in bed after sex?
Something sweet. Typically Nutella.
Okay. Nutella? Really? My God, they can rub Nutella. No, forget about it. So, those are things that you want to find out about somebody. Certainly, I can have Nutella fantasies right now. Boy, oh boy, I just got a good one in my brain. Okay. So, that stuff is great, but how do you know if somebody is the right one? Well, first off, what does love mean to you? We're out on a date. I'm a man. You're a woman. We obviously are attracted to each other because we're sitting here right now. So why don't we just tell each other, what's your definition of love? What does it mean to you? Nothing wrong with asking that at all. It's a great conversation. The second thing is how you feel about somebody after the date compared to how they really are. So I like to keep something called the dating journal. And in the first 30 days, you're getting their representative, okay? It's their manager, their agent, depending on what level of fame they really have achieved in their life, or it might be their financial planner if they lead with the money, or it might be their bragger, guys that brag like that. So what I like to do is I like to tell women all the time, write down everything this man promises you, because men are the biggest promisers in the world. Oh my God, you think you're so cute, I want to fly to Houston. You know what, we'll go to Austin together. We'll go visit you over there, and then we'll go to New York, and we'll go visit those guys, okay? And we'll stay at this great hotel, and it's going to be so much fun. Oh, with your kids? Oh, yeah, you know what? Oh my God, your kid, wait, I got an in with Nintendo. I know your kid loves that. You know, it's like your daughters love that? Oh, they're a girl? Oh, okay. Wait, we could do, Mr. Promise, okay? That's what he is. I'm Mr. Big Man, and I'm going to promise you lots of things, okay? So you need to write down the promissory note, okay? It's a note in your pad, and you write down all the things that Mr. Big Man promised, okay? Mr. Big Man promised this, and Mr. Big Man promised this, and Mr. Big Man promised this. So after the first 30 days, you grade him. the best thing in the entire world. Who doesn't want an A? Joe, do you want an A?
Sure.
Vito, you want an A?
Sure.
Okay, but I get you, all of us probably get B's and B minuses if we're lucky, okay? So you want an A. So how does a guy get an A? It's very, no, don't worry about it. It's very, very easy to get an A. You make a few promises and you come through on the promises. So all of a sudden, Mr. Big Promise didn't take you to New York to visit them. You never went to Austin, okay? And the fact is, you didn't even go to, where do you live, in Sherman Oaks?
Yeah, Studio City.
You didn't even go to Studio City to go visit her at all. The only place you went to was Maggie's backyard for a barbecue, okay? He promised to take you somewhere else to a show that was opening. Well, that never came through. And the gifts, the great first edition Barbies that he promised your girls because he's got a hookup at Mattel, that never fucking came through either. So you write down all the things that he promised, okay? And then at the end of the month, you write down all the things that he delivered, and you grade him. If he got a 1 out of a 10, that's a 10%. Even if there's a bell curve that is so bad, it's still probably an F, okay? So the guy that you want to be with, he needs to be at least a 9 out of 10, because we are human beings, we are going to forget something. So 90% stays forward, okay? That's step number 2. And then step number 3 is the pursuit. I think you're hot and beautiful, okay? Great, but do I think you're hot and beautiful tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, okay? Men will come after a woman very, very hard in the beginning. Why? Because a lot of men are conquestors. You know, that's what they are. I'm a conquestor. A lot of men are addicted to romance or the chase or the pursuit. I love the pursuit. Oh my God, it's so much fun. It's like my favorite time is the pursuit time. So when a man is doing that, you need to realize, okay, that a man that actually wants a woman and loves a woman is going to fly all over the world for you. He's not going to make excuses. Geography will not be an excuse. Time will not be an excuse. Work will not be an excuse. It's all bullshit, okay? When a man tells you he's busy all the time for work, it's the biggest man excuse in the entire world, okay? Sorry, boys, okay, for exposing that, but that's the truth. He's not going to come up with stories about his kid needing him more when all of a sudden you know what his custody schedule is. It's just man excuses, okay? Because it means that he's done pursuing you. A real man's going to keep coming after you. You're going to get more beautiful in his eyes, not less beautiful. So those are 3 things that you really need to understand. If the man is not doing all of them and a combination of them, and he's not at least at 85 and above on the test, okay? This is an SAT where it's multiple choice, okay? This is the test. Guess what happens then? You got to keep her. 30 days is really all it takes. You have a keeper, because I know when I'm really into a woman. Fuck, I can't stop thinking about her. I'm texting her, I'm calling her. Sorry, all you half pursuits. Texting, I'm calling, I'm thinking, I'm wanting to get to know her. I pick up the phone, I don't just text, right? I'm actually picking up the phone because I want to talk. I'm not having textual attraction, I'm having physical and voice attraction. I want you to stay over at my house. I'm, telling you I'm in your neighborhood later so I can get a little invite later because I know you're off from your kids that night and I want to curl into a little ball with you and snuggle with you. I'm romantic. That's me. Some men are not as big a romantic, but at least they're giving you the signs of wanting you. It's pursuit, not chasing. And women, don't make us chase. Chasing doesn't work for us at all. Kill it. Subscribe and kill it.